Okay, in this topic, we are going to study the energy from solid and agriculture waste. That is, we are generating, we are recycling the waste and converting them in form of usable form of energies. The first thing is converting waste materials into usable form. Then how best we can convert the other waste materials. There are n number of different waste materials are there. Then how best we can convert these waste materials into some other kind of usable forms. What are these usable forms? That is converting waste into heat energy, converting waste into bioenergy, that is recycling of waste, and the recycling of after recycling you can use the waste materials as fuel and energy generation from agriculture and municipal waste. We can generate the heat, we can use that waste material into heat energy, and we can also use the waste material into bioenergy and recycling, and we can also use the waste material into fuel as well as energy generation from the different agricultural waste and municipal waste. What are the different types and sources of waste? There are residential waste, municipal waste, industrial and commercial waste, building and constructional demolition, agriculture. These are different kind of sources and types of waste that we can bifurcate. First thing is residential waste. Based upon our residential home waste, that is from the kitchen side or from the home side or from neighboring of the in front of the homes. There are n number of waste that we can generate day to day. So by using these waste, we can generate the electricity or generate the heat or generate the other they can convert from one energy type to another kind of energies. The next thing is municipal service waste. The municipal services waste are commonly are um, the swipers that they daily swipe the roads and clean them in our city areas. Those wastes are the convertible forms of useful energies. And industrial sites and commercial wastes are the normal industry wastes that based upon the applications are that we are using in our day-to-day industries, and from these industries the most waste comes. And from the commercial sites, there's normally, for example, from the cotton industries or from husk industries or from jeans industries, wherever you can take the commercial sites. So based upon these wastes also we can generate the other useful forms of energy. Then building and construction demolitions, the remaining amount of materials that remained in construction site and then building sites. So these kind of waste can also be used in the forms of energies. Then the last thing is agriculture waste. The agriculture wastes are commonly are the biodegradable waste materials. So instead of firing them up and throwing it away, we can use this agriculture waste to convert from the useful forms. Then what are the methods of waste reduction? How best we can reduce the waste materials? That is by incineration, pyrolysis, anaerobic digestion, recycling, and bioenergy conversion. What is meant by incineration, pyrolysis, anaerobic digestion, recycling, bioenergy? We can study all these things one by one. First thing is incinerators, a furnace where waste is burned to produce energy. In incinerators, what happens? The amount of waste materials that we are collected from different sources are dumped into a furnace and then burned into produce some heat, produce some energy. And these incinerators combustion temperature is about 1000 degrees Celsius. The temperature at the incinerator is about 1000 degrees Celsius. Then burning of waste in incinerator will only reduce its volume but does not dispose the toxic substances in the waste and creates a large source of dioxins. That is, if we burn the waste materials in some kind with some huge amount of heat, what happens? Only the waste quantity is reduces, but the amount of toxic that produces because of the burning of these waste is not disposable. It creates huge problem to our environment and creates a pollution. This is the main drawback of incinerators. And modern incinerators are equipped with the pollution control system. So nowadays, that as technology changes, some equipments are developed that in order to mitigate the pollution control, they are substituting in today's incinerators. And to remove dangerous chemicals, flue gases are sent through the scrubbers. In the scrubber materials, in the incinerator, what happens? There is a separate chamber called scrubbers. Through the scrubbers, what happens? Some dangerous chemicals, flue gases are sent through the scrubbers in order to remove the dangerous gases. And what is the process of incineration? In here, the auditing of waste. First thing, they audit the waste. Total how much amount of waste is generated and how much amount of waste is deposited into the incinerators, and totally how much amount of energy that we are generated through the burning of waste materials. That auditing goes first should be done. And proper insertion selection. The incinerator, the amount of incinerator, that is the place where we are going to burn the materials which are going to burn in the incinerator should be properly selected. Then proper operation of incinerator. There should be a technical person and a person with the knowledge of a proper operation of incinerator should be appointed. Then removal of dangerous chemicals and toxic gases. By burning the waste materials, what happens? Huge amount of toxic and gaseous materials are formed. We have to remove them by continuously flowing of fluids through the scrubbers. So in order to mitigate the pollution control, we have to use some chemicals and toxic gases to remove wells. And next thing is safe handling and disposal of incinerator residues. The amount of the wastages that remain at the end of burning of the waste in the incinerator, we have to handle them very carefully because these may also create problems in the environment. So for that purpose, we have to safely handle the disposals of incinerator residues. The next thing is pyrolysis. What is meant by pyrolysis? It's the organic waste is burned at relatively low temperature. In the pyrolysis, what happens? The amount of waste material. There are two type of waste materials that we can observe, that we can divide. One thing is organic waste, and then is inorganic waste or chemical waste, which are non-renewables, which are non-recyclable waste. So in the organic waste are normally which are easily disposed into the earth very easily. So for that kind of waste materials are burned at a low temperature. And the chemical depositions of waste materials by heat in the absence of oxygen under pressure and operating temperature above 420 degrees Celsius. So here what happens? The amount of temperature that we are using of about 430 degrees Celsius, and the chemical deposition that remained after the burning of waste material should be properly maintained. Then transforms the organic materials into gases, small quantities of liquid and solid residue containing carbon and ashes. After burning the organic waste, we have to bifurcate the remaining output materials. That is, we have to transform these organic materials into gaseous parts, small quantities of liquids, and other some solid residues which are containing normally carbon and ash. So of that all these byproducts, what next we have to do? We have to combustible gases, including the carbon monoxide, hydrogen, and methane, and other hydrocarbons. We have bifurcated the organic waste or residues of the organic waste material into gases, small quantities of liquid, and solids. Gas, liquid, solid. So here in the gas system, what happens? The carbon monoxide, hydrogen, and methane, and the other hydrocarbons are the main byproducts that produced by burning the organic waste. So if the off gases are cooled and liquids condensed, produce an oil or tar residue and contaminated waters. These are the some other byproducts that we have got from the pyrolysis. And pyrolysis liquids can be used directly or refined for high quality fuels. The usage of the byproducts of the pyrolysis liquids are with high quality fuels. We can use it as a fuel also. We can use it as chemicals and some adhesives and other products. These are some useful things that we get from the burning of things. Useful products, that is from liquids, chemicals, high quality fuels, etc. Then direct pyrolysis liquids can be toxic or corrosive. The pyrolysis liquids that produced at the outputs are toxic or corrosive. Then next thing is anaerobic digestion. In anaerobic digestion, what happens? Series of process in which microorganisms break down the biodegradable material in the absence of oxygen. We are converting the waste materials into biodegradable materials in the absence of oxygen. In the absence of oxygen, what happens? The huge amount of waste materials, which with the help of microorganisms, these breaks down and made into biodegradable materials. Then in anaerobic digester is an airtight chamber. The anaerobic digester is a airtight chamber and in which organic waste is decomposed and transformed into biogas. So in the airtight chamber, what happens? The waste material will be decomposed and converted into biogas. Then one of the end products of biogas is the biogas. The end product is the biogas. As I told, we are converting the waste material into some useful materials. Here the useful gas is biogas. So these biogas can be used to produce electricity or heat, or can also use in our home appliances in order to cook the food, and it can process into renewable natural gases also, and transportation of fuels. And in the bioenergy conversion is a kind of a waste recycling, that is bioenergy conversion. In this conversion of biomass or biogas is a usable form. Here biomass or biogas is used as for usable form, and the electricity in by using the by making use of waste material, we are generating the electricity also. Then liquid fuels, that is the main liquid fuels are ethanol and methanol. These ethanol and methanol, for the best example of producing methanol and ethanol by using of waste materials are sugar canes. So in the sugar cane, what happens? After winding after twisting the sugar canes, the final we get in the sugar industry that sugar milk. After getting the sugar milk, the remaining husk materials are made to generate the ethanol and methanol. This is the best example of producing waste into liquid fuels. And next thing is the production of usable energy through the algal and similar crops. What are the similar crops? Photosynthesis, production of organic materials, collection and processing of plant materials, and the fermentation of leading to liquid and gaseous things. What are the main key issues that we are facing in production are some refuse derived fuels, that is collection of waste. This is the main issue. In today's technology, in today's most population areas, the collection of waste is the biggest task, and the volume and nature of waste to be produced, the amount of volume, total amount of waste materials, and what kind of waste material that produced are the main key issues. Total amount of waste and kind of waste, that is nature of waste. The type of efficient refuse derived fuel, process required, and the market for fuel products. As we know that the fuel that is produced by the waste particles are not easily attractive to the consumers because of continuous uses of petrols and diesels from the petroleum products, because these are very attractive and day-to-day life. But today's generation are need to make sure that the amount of fuel that produced from the ADS are also good for vehicles. The potential users and revenue obtainable, total amount of number of users that we are generating the waste materials into heat energy, and revenue obtainable, the amount of revenue that generated by the recycling of waste. Then utilization of solar thermal energy for increasing the temperature of digesters. The digesters which we are used in the process should be utilized through the solar thermal energy for increasing the temperature. Instead of using electricity, we can use solar thermal energy for increasing the temperature at the digesters. Then economy for the alternative method of refusable waste. The total economy for the alternative method of refusable waste. The total refusable waste that produced should be of in the economical purpose also. Then next thing is recycling. It's the best method compared to all the remaining methods. Recycling of waste materials into usable forms are the best method. That is, it involves the collection of used and discarded materials in order to process them and make them into new products. Yeah, the recycling for best method is plastic. The plastic is not biodegradable thing, so instead of burning them in the ground, or instead of burning in the incinerators, or instead of using as a anaerobic process, the best thing is you have to recycle the plastic materials, or just avoid the usage of these plastic materials. So it involves the collection of used and discarded materials. Then the results in a waste reduction. By using the in the recycling process, what happens, if we continuously recycle the things, we can reduce the wastage of things. And it's a tool for economic development as well as for environment. Economic development, environment. In the economic development, what happens, if we stop using the plastic materials, we can mitigate the pollution control and making use of best things. And it's also useful for environment also. Reuse, recycle and waste reduction offers direct development opportunities for communities. Communities are the places where we are living. So here the reuse or recycling and waste reduction directly they are giving opportunities for communities. Then what are the advantages and disadvantages of waste recycling? The main advantages are it reduces the damage to environment and reduces energy consumption, reduction in pollution, mitigate the global warming, and promotes sustainable utilization of resources. These are the main advantages of waste recycling, and there are few disadvantages of that also. These are the recycling of waste is of high cost, and the durability and small lifespan of recycled items. The materials is already used, so if we again keep on using the same materials, the lifespan of the materials will be automatically reduces. And this method is very unsafe and unhygienic process, because there may be contaminations or ergogenic processes. So because of that, it is unsafe and unhygienic compared to other methods. Then what are the different, how best we can recycle the plastics? Plastic is the main thing which are directly affecting the environment and our day-to-day life. So it is most contaminated thing that we are using today. So we have to reduce the usage of plastics. If it is very much needed, then we can also take it as a recycling. Then recycling rate of different types of plastics differs greatly. Then plastics are very good asset to recycling program. There are two categories in recycling of plastics. One is thermosets. Thermosets, it solidifies or sets the irreversible when heated, durable and strong. And these are uses, normally these kind of thermostats uses in automobiles, construction and adhesive inks. Then thermoplastics. After thermosets, the next thing is thermoplastics. These thermoplastics softens when exposed to heat and returns to original condition at room temperature. At the room temperature, what happens? These thermoplastics softens when exposed to heat and returns to original conditions. And it can be easily shaped. The thermoplastics can be easily shaped. Normally these can be used in milk jugs, floor overturns, credit cards, etc. Then the important agenda is the process, that is collection of plastic waste. Then collected waste goes to material recovery facilities, and this sent to reclaiming facility, and a flotation tank may be used to separate the contaminations. Flakes are then dried, melted, filtered, then pellets are then shipped into manufacturing plants. Then what are the main benefits of plastic recycling? That is energy and natural resource conservation. By using the plastic recycling, we can best use of energy and natural resource conservation. And also environmental protection. By using plastic recycling, instead of burning or instead of burying on the ground, we can help the environment from the pollution. Then reducing the dumping spaces. in the today's in our day-to-day life, we can't live without using the plastic things. So if we avoid the usage of plastics as much as possible, we can also reduce the dumping spaces. After waste materials, we need to dump at the particular places. So if we stop using the plastics things, we can reduce the dumping spaces also. Then thermo depolymerization. The next thing is thermal depolymerization. Here what happens? The method to convert a waste plastics into usable form. This is the method where we are converting the waste plastics into some useful forms. A catalytic pyrolysis process. It's a kind of a process in thermal depolymerization, that catalytic pyrolysis. Here it's to convert waste plastics to liquid hydrocarbons. Here what we do, here we converting the waste plastics into liquid hydrocarbons, cokes and gases. So we can use these hydrocarbons, coals and gases as our fuels in using generating and transportation purposes. And the complex organic materials are reduced into light crude oils. The normal complex organic materials can be used as light crude oils, and under some pressure and heat, we can use the long chain polymers of hydrocarbons and oxygens, and also carbon decomposes into short petroleum hydrocarbons. So what are the next steps of pyrolysis? Different steps of what are the main steps of pyrolysis are these: eventually evenly heating the plastics to narrow temperature range without excessive temperature variation. Without varying the temperature at high variations, we can heat the plastics at narrow temperature. And purging of purging of oxygen from pyrolysis chamber. We can get the oxygen contents of the waste materials and we can use it in the usable forms. That is the called purging of oxygen. Then managing the carbon rich chamber by product before it acts as a thermal insulator. Before acting as a thermal insulator, we can use it into carbon rich. Careful condensation and fraction of pyrolysis vapors to produce distillate good quality and consistent. So this is the very important part of waste management, that waste recovery management scheme. The waste recovery management scheme contains energy utilization, waste and refuse generation, on-site processing, treatment, storage, collection and storage and processing, treatment and final disposal. So the input is energy utilization, the output is final disposal. So here what we normally do, we put the dumpings, that is the waste materials, the separation of metals, papers, glasses from the remaining waste through the process such as size reduction, screening, vibrating sorting and electronic scanning. However, a truly homogeneous, inexpensive separations system will provide the competitive input to waste energy utilization. Here in the waste energy utilization, see here, as I told, energy utilization, this is the first process. In the first process, what happens, we have to separate the metals, papers and glasses from the all other remaining waste materials by the process called as size reduction, screening or vibrating sorting. By these methods, we normally separate the different types of waste materials, and these can be input to the waste energy utilization. By bifurcating the different waste materials into different forms, we can give the input to the waste energy utilization. Then conversion of the remaining waste products to usable form of energy and energy conversion, the converting the waste products of some useful forms of waste materials also there, waste energy also there. We can transform that energy into other useful forms, that are generation of methane gas and generation of electricity, composition of fertilizers, that is waste and refuse generation. In this process, we can bifurcate the non-usable form of energy into usable form. On-site processing, treatment, storage. In the on-site processing, treatment, storage, what happens? the bifurcated energy usable forms are gets collected here in the processing, treatment, storage, and the waste materials are stored here. In the after storing the waste materials, we send it into the collection and storage chamber. Here in the collection and storage chamber, again the things are bifurcated and distributed into other non-usable forms of energies, different non-usable forms of energy and usable forms of energy. These kind of energies are get treated. That is, we can make it as a generation, that is to generate the methane gas or generate the electricity, or we can use the waste materials as also a fertilizers. So after treatment of bifurcating waste materials into different usable forms, the final non-usable output will be disposed in the final disposal chambers. Here a control loop will be there from storage processing unit and treatment unit to energy utilization, and from on-site processing treatment to storage to final disposal. That is, in some conditions what happens, the amount of non-usable, the maximum amount of usable form of energy is derived in the refuse generations, and the last we can't we can't generate the few more amount of energy in the waste materials. So what we do at that time, we can directly dispose the things. So for that purpose, we have two control loops systems. Okay, this is the end of the thing. We can discuss the remaining things in the next session.